This really bothers me in Destiny. Like, it's freaking me out. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the Ikelos SMG that's taking the world by storm with Feeding Frenzy and Volt Shot. And while that weapon is a straight 10 out of 10 for basically everything, I wanted to talk today about something less people are using. The Path of Least Resistance Trace Rifle. I know I'm not the first to talk about this, but dang, let me say the gun's pretty good. Let me start off with the role I have. First up, in the magazine perk, which is the first one that I find really matters and that is super important, is the tactical magazine. That gives you increased reload speed for some of the perks later. Then we will have Stats for All, which will increase reload speed after damaging 3 targets, which is really important, and it does some other stats as well, and the perk overall is just great. Lastly, we have Volt Shot, which is just unbelievable. If you haven't been using a weapon with Volt Shot, you've been not playing Destiny the right way, I guess. But anyway, definitely recommend checking out the perk if you haven't had a chance. Its origin trait, the Amalon Fluid Dynamics, is something that's also worth talking about because for the first half of the magazine, you get increased reload speed, which in turn procs Volt Shot even more. I thought that was something at least worth talking about a little bit. Real quick, some things that I do want to go over with the weapon. Path of Least Resistance has an unbelievable ammo economy. I just throw on a scavenger and an ammo finder mod for trace rifles, and I have never ran out of ammo. And that said, trace rifles are known for just chewing through that stuff. Other than that, Volt Shot with a large magazine, I think a lot of people are a little bit scared of, but here's how I see it, right? If you get a kill with the trace rifle and Volt Shot, you reload, right? Getting Volt Shot again. But, say it's a major enemy, you just keep firing, right? The Ikelos can't do that. It can't do that. Path of Least Resistance can. So, I think that's pretty good, right? It's got great reload speed, tactical mag, stats for all. If you're playing Hunter, you get the amplified perk from your aspect, and it's just a thing that keeps on giving, right? The more reload speed you have, the more you proc Volt Shot, the more you proc Volt Shot, the more you need to reload, and it's just a never-ending cycle. It will, in Lightfall, have anti-champion abilities, right? Volt Shot jolts targets. Overloads will be weak to Volt Shot weapons. So, that's pretty sweet. And, to me, the Trace Rifle feels a lot like an auto rifle that's just better, right? And because of that, you can kind of treat it like a primary, right? The ammo economy is great, the damage is phenomenal. You don't really run out of ammo, which is what I feel like a lot of people are worried about, unless you're on the double special train, in which case I'm sure you're not worried about it at all. But this opens up a slot for Wither Horde, a stasis fusion rifle like Riptide, 1-2 punch shotgun that I usually use on this build. I personally like the Wastelander. I think it's a ton of fun. Next point. It rolls with Volt Shot. Moving on, it can spawn ionic traces with Arc 3.0, so you get your abilities back for shooting your gun. You know, I usually play a lot of the roll around and punch things Hunter, so what happens, right, is if there's something I can't melee, say like a little exploder enemy or something flying a little bit too far away or something's just too far away to punch, right, it works pretty darn well. It can proc stats for all with Jolt by itself, which is pretty insane. As long as the Jolt damage gets the final blow, boom, you got stats for all, crazy reload speed, get your Volt Shot up all the time, feels like a laser beam with stats for all. It just doesn't stop, right? And the heavy ammo economy, right? Bungie says they fixed it, but if you run double special, it doesn't feel like they fixed it. I've never ran out of heavy ammo, and I use stuff like Gallahorn, Lament, and other weapons that are pretty cracked when it comes to just vomiting all their ammo. And I don't run out, because double special, you get more heavy drops. Bungie says they fixed it, but it doesn't feel like it, so I think that's pretty sweet. It does come with a couple cons, like all things in life, right? And Destiny's no exception. It's a trace rifle, so some people don't like it. I can see that. You know, a big part of Destiny is the pew-pew of your gun, and Trace rifles don't really pew-pew, they just kind of do a laser beam. So I guess I could see that point. And trace rifles right now, and throughout a lot of Destiny, I guess, haven't really had champion mods because they usually only have one champion mod, like, per season for special weapons. It's usually like a primary weapon thing. But since it can jolt things in Lightfall, that's gonna be pretty sweet. And after that, I really don't know. This weapon is pretty sweet. It fits into my Arc Hunter build pretty well. I'd have to imagine it fits into the Arc Titan build, where all you do is throw grenades with the Heart of Inmost Light. You know, something like Shaxx just screaming, "Throw more grenades, Guardian!" Right? So, that's pretty sweet. But I really can't find, like, a huge downside with this weapon, and I find it a ton of fun, and no one's using it. And it bugs me. I was just farming the seasonal activity for Season of the Seraph, since you can get the daily deep sight weapons, and I found one other person using it throughout, like, my whole time, and of course it's right when I started to record, but I was like, wow, this gun's actually pretty sweet. So with that, if you can get your hands on it, definitely, since deep sight weapons are craftable daily and the Season of the Seraph by itself is pretty good about giving out the red border weapons, get your hands on it, level it up at Shirochi, do whatever you need to do. This thing's great. Don't sleep on it for Lightfall, because I guarantee you it's either going to be taken out of the game or they're going to put it into, like, Dares of Eternity or something. So do yourself a favor and at least craft this, and probably the Ikelos, because that's the talk of the town. Man, this thing is great. And if you made it to the end of the video, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch it. I really do appreciate it, since I'm really just doing YouTube as a hobby more so than anything else. It's a lot of fun to string together and edit videos. I'm not very good at it, and I figured, hey, why not try the unscripted ramblings? And so here we are. But if you did enjoy the content, feel free to like and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything, but it means the world to me. Alright, y'all have a good day, night, or evening.